Rage Beef Jerky is a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast, and we are more than happy to ever eat beef jerky, but more so, Rage Beef Jerky. Rage Beef Jerky is
so much
top shelf grade A beef. They also have meat sticks in 6 flavors. That is cracked pepper, sweet and spicy, original, teriyaki, and bacon jalapeno.
And hot.
What am I missing? And hot. Not so hot that you're going to be scared, but hot that it'll be like, ooh,
the
I want
perfect
more.
level of spice that just sits and kicks, and you love it, and you're just like, give me more. Give me more.
I like that. Sits and kicks. It just lingers.
It's very good.
And it's not like a bad linger. It's like,
it's not a hot burn, but it's a lingering burn. It's perfect.
It's kind of like when you touch that 9-volt battery to your tongue, you're like, should I do it? Ooh,
it's the kind of spicy. It's the kind of spicy that 20 minutes later you're still licking your lips and going, that was good.
But Rage has been a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast since episode 2, and by them coming on, they've given us to give to you, and that is to go to www.ragebeefjerky.com, and at checkout, all you got to do to save a little dough, use the promo code Chubby at checkout for 15% off your order. And if you were in either Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma, or Arkansas, they are located in 400 plus locations. But if you are not in any of those locations or states, you can go to www.ragebeefjerky.com, and don't forget to use that promo code.
You know what I love? None of that's written down for you. You're just remembering all of those details. That's so good. We really are kind of fanatics about Rage Beef Jerky, dude. Like, it's funny.
When this is what I say, if I'm given something to help, especially Rage, but even to help us out, like, we have fun with this. This is all it is. This is a hangout session.
Dude.
This is for you and I to connect. I'm going to give it as much as I can, especially when Rage does something like a discount code for us, and we're not even that big. And that's not the idea. They just want to show support, and to pay back, I'm going to show support to them.
That discount code again is Chubby, CHUBBY, 15% off.
Oh. Rage.
Why? Because
Rage.
Sorry, I missed it.
Dang.
Get your jerky on.
But hey, Joshua, this is episode 56 of the Chubby Buddies podcast, and
That's 5?
I'm nothing but, I guess, kind of in awe that we're at episode 50. Granted, we've had breaks in between. We had to take a break this last time. We take a week
off every now and then because, we're working or busy or I'm fixing my house to sell it. Stuff like that.
And those are things you kind of have to take time back for. But I really wish Jordan was here. I mean, this time is a pretty wild reason why he's not here because...
Yeah, it's crazy.
We had an episode...
He gets busy sometimes.
Yeah, not only does he get busy, he makes bad decisions, okay?
Yeah.
This man is so crazy, he bought his wife a lawnmower for Valentine's Day.
That's right. Oh.
And after apparently, I guess, Christine saw that it was it probably wasn't even a high-end mower, first of all.
No,
so the blades were probably
dull. It was like Ryobi, dude.
So battery operated. He had the Tesla of lawnmowers, okay? This man bought her a lawnmower. So in return, she got him probably, in my eyes, I think it's probably one of the best witted type gifts.
It's going to be an adventure for sure.
Yeah. She pretty much got him a all access pass to join the Scientology church. Like, that's wild. Like,
sign him up for Scientology.
What do you have to say? You were a Christian at a Christian church. Like, what is the difference between those two?
Well, one is about denying self and giving your. Whoops, sorry, computer's acting funny. Sorry. One is one is about following Jesus and about becoming like him. And the other is a science fiction ripoff fantasy story made up as a joke that is now corrupting and destroying people.
I think the only good thing that could come from this is that he might meet Tom Cruise.
He might get us an autograph, right? Like, have you seen the newest Mission Impossible?
No. Bro, unfortunately not.
So good. Like, Tom Cruise may be a little man when he runs, but he is a big man when it comes to action stars. Okay, he knows how to get that camera angle just right. And Jordan, we'll miss you, but get us an autograph. Maybe?
And if you guys have heard from him, let us know. Or if you haven't, reach out to him, see if he might message you, because I made fun of him for getting a mower. And one of the topics that we had a previous episode, like that was one of the bad Valentine gift ideas. I think that was a year ago during Valentine's Day. He said a lawnmower, and he buys her a lawnmower.
See, if he was hanging out with his friends, he wouldn't make these dumb decisions. So,
But
Jordan, we'll miss you. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. I don't know.
And don't forget that autograph.
If you're out. Yeah. Tom Cruise. Yeah.
I love you, Tom Cruise.
Help me, Tom Cruise.
So how you
Help
been,
me
buddy?
Oprah Winfrey. I have been fantastic, dude. This show was phenomenal. We had such a blast at this wrestling show. We got to make biscuit bombs, got to make new flavors. We had a Southwest Chicken Club. We had strawberry shortcake. We sold out of biscuit bombs. We made a few less than we did last time, but we sold out of all of our biscuit bombs. We sold pretzel bites, all that stuff. It was
new
a
pretzel
great,
bites. That's a new addition to
a brand
the
new
Chubby Buddy.
addition. Heather has been playing around with some sourdough and fallen in love with it. And so she decided, hey, we could offer some pretzel bites. And man, with that bomb cheese sauce that we serve, the mellow yellow or the spicy white, like that flavor is so good. Mellow yellow cheese or spicy white.
Okay.
So it's just like a basic yellow, like queso American cheddar queso.
Oh, okay.
Like it's really simple. The spicy white is a sharper, more seasoned. It's got a kick to it. I love it. It's so good.
I like
so you got both of those textures. They mix in. So with our Southwest Chicken Club, you get to pick which cheese you wanted. Then we have biscuits and gravy, chorizo, egg and cheese. You got to pick what cheese you wanted. And then, like I said, strawberry shortcake, which was the chopped up strawberries, and then the cheesecake Cool Whip fluff. I don't know what
I was wanting to try,
cheesecake,
but I understand that I need to go there before the show starts to try them next time. So
yes, bro, there is going to be nothing left at the end of the show, apparently. So, but man, great turnout, great time. We loved it. So it was a hit.
But nothing else after you got back? I mean, you got your house going, your floor's in, like your floor's at the house, but it's not in yet.
Flooring's at the house. We're working on that. Probably not necessarily today, but I'm going to be working on that the next few days. So probably by the end of the week, we'll have most of the flooring put in. So hopefully that'll be the next update, is that we've gotten most of the flooring down, and we'll have the porches almost finished, and then I'll stain, and we'll pressure wash the house and all that stuff, all sorts of stuff. But I think we're probably 2 to 3 weeks from being able to put it on the market, would be my guess. We're real close.
I haven't even thought about putting a house on the market, nor do I want to.
I'm excited that it's happening in spring because I feel like that's the best time to sell. So I'm hopeful that God's going to provide, and that I feel like God kind of created this path and set us on this way. So I'm hopeful that He's going to provide, and believe that just means doing our part and trusting in Him and waiting on His timing.
Well, I mean, as much as I wish I could say, hey, I feel for you about the whole remodeling and kind of cleaning things up, I would never want to do that. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I enjoyed this weekend was hanging out at your house playing with your little dog, playing with little Charlie Sheen, man.
Oh, man.
Okay,
did I give you a good, I guess,
perfect
of his personality?
Perfect description of his personality. He is definitely like a little crack dog. He's funny. He's hilarious. The name's
Tiger's
wrong.
blood, baby.
His name is his actual name is crap.
Yogi.
What is it, Bobby? Yogi. That's right. But his name, he's absolutely named wrong. He needs to be named Falcor, because this thing is a tiny wiener sausage looking sized dog of Falcor. Exact carbon copy. Maybe, okay, Falcor was probably a little fluffier. His fur looks a little bit more like a Labradoodle. But outside of that, color, even like the little iron staining on the eyes, he just looks like Falcor. Okay,
and I thought I told you that's what I thought he looked like in the
he should
gig.
Absolutely be named Falcor. That's so great.
I didn't name him, and I mean, but I thought
Change
I did tell you that, but it's funny that you said it because I brought it up to Jamie like months after we got him, and she knew what I was talking about, but she didn't see the resemblance until like she cut his hair. She cut his hair.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and then I was like, all right, now look at him because his ears are puffier.
And especially he had just had a haircut too recently, hadn't he?
A week ago.
Yeah, okay, so that's why it was so noticeable to me because he had just gotten a haircut. But yeah, he totally looks like Falcor.
And when he sprawls out on the couch to lay down, like he looks like when Falcor's flying, like that
looks like a little pillow.
Yeah, it's like a cloud. Cute. It's wild.
Love it, love it.
But no, I mean, I've got my hands full with that dog, unfortunately. But
yeah, he is high energy, man. That dog will literally just sprint circles around the couch just for fun.
But Martha Stewart is a breath of fresh air. Like she's
Lucy. So sweet. Lucy. I love little Lucy. She's such a sweetie.
Was I right about Martha Stewart? Like she's mellow and cool.
Yeah. Feels like she might bake you a pie if you ask her to.
Yeah, she got into Snoop Dogg's stash, maybe. But who knows? But no, this week I've got. I'm taking my dad to Topeka on Wednesday. He's officially retiring this week on Friday.
Dude, congratulations! March 1st. Yeah, how long's he been doing this, man?
See, I think it's 28 years he's been working in the Department of Corrections
as a corrections officer.
So,
okay,
I will be traveling with him just because. See, I get old soul people, and I'm sure that your dad was a truck driver. My dad did not leave the city of Hutch except to go to Pratt. Maybe I think the farthest that I've ever seen him drive is Guyman, Oklahoma, which is 4 hours away.
Sure, for family.
And we're going to Topeka, which is a high population
area. Yeah, it's the capital of Kansas.
He just isn't comfortable driving without somebody kind of guiding him where to turn and stuff. And
sure,
he's not a big fan of GPS either. So I'm going to be his eyes and voice of where to turn. I guess.
So cool that your dad's retiring, man. 28 years.
Yeah, I mean,
corrections officer.
Like I couldn't imagine like 28 years of a job. Like I couldn't imagine 5 years of a job, and now I've been at the same job now almost 10 years this time, and it was 2 the previous time, but it doesn't feel like 10 years. It feels like it's been more like 3 or 4. It's kind of weird.
It's funny because your dad is kind of always for me. It's funny, BJ did it for years, but your dad has always kind of been visually for me what I envision as a corrections officer. Just in the, like, he's so, like, stoic and like, he's unbreakable. Does that make sense?
Now, when I hear it, like, I don't want to ever take a shot.
I know you don't witness it the same. I'm saying from an outsider perspective from having been a friend who came to your house.
Very, I guess, serious demeanored.
Reserved and controlled is the way I would call it. And just that even keelness, the fact that he never seems to break, was just like, to me, that's what I thought it took to be a corrections officer.
And if you
just have to be able to withhandle it.
If you would ask Jordan that question, like, he would not agree with you, because him and Jordan, like, they kind of, like, I don't know if it's like the relationship that they have. Like, Jordan is in stitches usually when he's around my dad, because my dad can make him laugh like that. Like,
see, I think your dad's funny. Your dad has great jokes, but outside of cracking jokes, your dad doesn't break for nothing.
Not if he doesn't know you. But I totally see what you're going with that. But I mean, but I think it's also the age thing. When you look at your brother who did the same job, he's probably 20 years younger than my dad. So the age thing has a lot
BJ
to
was
do
a
with
much
it.
more social guy as a corrections officer.
And that, I think, is the age thing. Like, they were trained in different eras. So
right.
But I also take a lot after my dad, just because, like, I was trained by the older guys at the prison. Like, I mean, I usually don't show emotion when somebody's talking to me in either a negative way at the prison, just because that's what you're trained not to do. And that's what my dad did. So,
level of stoicism there. That's pretty helpful.
As long as he makes a statement like that, I'm sure he'd be fine with it. But other than that going on, there's not much. The show was great. My voice is still recovering from like the level of volume that I put out that night, like I don't think
You
I've
were
ever had to
loud.
get that
You
loud.
were loud, and they were loud with you, man. That was the funnest. That was one of the best parts. Like the fact that you're hollering into the mic and they're responding just as loud. They're like you'd call it. This match is for one fall, and then just loud roar behind him. One fall. So good, so good.
It almost was like when I was talking into the mic, they seemed like they were getting louder, so I felt like I had to get louder. So like I've never had to do that with my voice before. Like
It feeds
and like I
off
said,
of it.
like
It was good.
that crowd was the loudest I've ever been in so far. I mean, other than the first night, which was my first night ever doing it, so I really was like the worst ring announcer ever. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, because I didn't know, like he didn't like.
Are you talking about when we both did it, or when you did it
No,
solo?
when I did it in Wichita first.
I was going to say because you did it solo, and then we did it together, and that one wasn't great,
but it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It was probably better than your first one, but
100%.
what you do now is 10 times better than what we even did that first one. 11,
and I think it has to do with like I know kind of like what gets the crowd going. Like when you just get, hey, do you want to come try this? And it's like, I'll try it.
What?
And
okay.
Like, but when I don't know anything, like what they want me to like talk about in between, like to kind of buy time, like with little things outside of the ad reads and stuff, but like also the way that the speakers were set up was like just horrendous and nobody could hear me. And I was eating the mic.
I'm so glad they've got that. I'm so glad they've gotten that corrected.
I think that has helped out 99% of like how I feel when I'm talking on the mic, because
getting those microphones or getting those speakers up off the ground and angled at the right angle,
where the crowd can hear you, because now you can hear the pop and you can hear that the reaction and you can feel the emotion in the room right when you get on that mic. And like when I say Wichita, I can't hear you, like they get so loud.
They make sure you can hear them. It's so good.
Well, I know one of the shows I told them, I said, hey, I want this place so loud that we get ticketed by the city of Wichita. And
that's so great.
So, but no, it's been fun doing this with Billy. Like I've had a blast. Like it's something different that I've never done, but it also kind of corresponds with what we're doing here. Like we're talking to the public a little bit. I mean, YouTube is a little bit more than the public.
It's the public. They'll watch it eventually.
Yeah. But I am known a little bit just because I've been at every show now. So, I mean, it's a very fun experience, but it's also something that kind of gets you out of your comfort zone. Like,
absolutely,
I've talked before in front of people.
You
did it every like at least once a month on a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get comfortable with certain people, especially the people that you know. Like, I think it's easier to talk in a big crowd.
You find what works for you. You find what little rhythm works for you to break the fear of communicating. Because that's all it is. It's just communicating at a larger scale, but it's still communicating. And the basics of communication don't change regardless of the size of the audience. It just has to adapt to the new environment.
Well, I don't know if you would agree with me on this. I think it's harder to talk to a smaller crowd than it is a bigger crowd. Like,
depends. I think a smaller crowd of your peers is easier to talk to than a bigger crowd of baby boomers.
Man,
your audience. Yeah. Your audience matters, and so I think what it is like I said, communicating is communicating. It scales. So really, it's if you're talking to a small group, how you communicate to them as individuals matters differently. If I'm talking to 5,000 people, if I single one person out and start talking to them individually, it's going to have a different impact.
And what I'm saying is like you're not looking for a reaction necessarily to the crowd when you're talking to them versus like kind of what I'm doing at the wrestling show. I'm saying
I would disagree.
I'm saying like with the
you're
with
right.
the noise.
I'm not trying. It's not a call and response.
Yeah.
But I am at times looking for them to answer or looking for them to like connect and comment, if that makes sense.
And what I'm saying is like a smaller crowd, like you could hear everything. So if you sound like an idiot when you're talking on a mic, like, and you're in a wrestling atmosphere, like you're going to hear every like comment in the crowd with a small one. With a big one, everybody's going to be so loud, it doesn't matter. Like, I can block all that part out. Like, I don't hear you if you're the only voice saying it. But if there's like 4 or 5 guys and they're saying it in a crowd of 10 people, like, I'm going to hear it. But no, first I want to say thanks to Billy. Like, this was fun. And I'm doing this mainly just to, help you out, man. Like, I would have never thought that I would ever do this. And I'm sure that, like, you probably would have never guessed that I would do this.
No, I don't think on my list. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you have the skills for it. I know you have the personality for it. I just don't know that I would have ever expected you to take an opportunity like this. No. So it's really cool that you did, because I think you're crushing it here. I think it's fantastic.
Well, and I wouldn't do it if it wasn't Billy. I'll say that. If it wasn't Billy, I probably wouldn't do it.
We owe him a lot. He's been an older brother to all of us forever.
So if he ever asked me to do anything with him, I would say yes. I would say yes to as much as I could. So, but the last time we were on here, you were on Cloud 9 with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, we talked all sorts of good stuff, man. Yeah. Chiefs rocking that Super Bowl victory, celebrating that. We talked about all sorts of good stuff. We talked about what was it? We talked about Dryling. We talked about little Nate Dryling getting his job.
Yeah. But we didn't get to talk about
that
the parade.
Man is a grown adult, and I should stop talking about him like he's some little freshman that I'm playing
little Nate
with.
Dryling.
I am 36 years old. He's over 30 and a grown-ass man. Does he have kids? He's probably got kids. Nate, I'm sorry. If you ever hear this, I apologize for calling you little Nate Dryling. I know you're a grown man now.
And I'm sure it's all right. But no, we didn't get to talk about the parade and like what. I did watch the parade. I did get to watch it. Now, when everything happened, like with the disturbance that was in the crowd, like I didn't necessarily know right away that that's what was going on. But I don't know if you do this, like me working in a prison, like I'm at high alert at work all the time. So when I went to the draft, like I don't say how nervous I am around like large groups of people like this. Like I'm probably pretty sure that I show it, but like I couldn't imagine like the parade numbers were even higher than the draft numbers. So when you're in a large crowd like that, you sort of like me mentally, I sort of feel like I need to respect the fact that anything is possible.
Yep. And you have to stay vigilant. Now, that is not to say that there's any justification or to say that this was okay at all. Like, this goes to show how flippantly we are treating human life.
100%.
If we're willing to so quickly pull out guns. Now, that's not a criticism of our gun policy. It's not a criticism of anything, of how humans are treating human life. We're not valuing it the way God tells us to value it. And we're not training our kids up to value human life like they should. If we're willing to pull weapons in crowded areas and pull the trigger indiscriminately, like that's ridiculous. Now, with that said, what I find most compelling about the parade and the stories around it are, one, this wasn't a terrorism thing. This was a foolish, selfish, prideful, momentary poor decision thing, it sounds like. And it sounds like several people, including Chiefs players, stepped up to help those in need.
Andy Reid, one of them too.
Yeah, that to me showcases character and the goodness of this situation way more than the evilness of the people pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that has to be what we highlight out of this. Not that a trigger was pulled. Don't get me wrong. I think it needs to be addressed. And I think we need to talk about why people are willing to pull triggers and take shots and not look and be aware of life around them. But this, to me, there were aspects of this that was a win. Because I saw a community rally, I saw individuals rally, and I saw a bunch of people that said, no, we're going to protect. We're going to do what we can to protect.
The entire line, I believe, holding kids and stayed with them while everything was going on. I hate that they were
put in that position. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
but the way that it happened,
from what I understand, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is getting some sort of award for it. But like, to me, like, it's got to be like, I know we're getting exhausted as individuals. I know we're getting exhausted as Americans about this. And I know there's plenty of us that agree, or there's plenty of us that do not believe that taking away guns is the correct answer.
Yeah.
What it comes down to, and I'm not even necessarily saying that as a conservative. Like, I would say I lean conservative. I'm more middle of the road. But I definitely understand that institutions are ultimately people-led, and people make mistakes. People are broken. People are sinful. We have corruption. We have it in all levels of our government and things like that. So if you think for a second that I, as an individual, should not be able to protect myself and my individual rights and my individual family from any outside influencing force, government or not, then you misunderstand the natural state of man right now. We are not walking with you. Like, we are not divine. We're not with God. We aren't perfect. And so we are going to make mistakes, which means we have to be aware that we can make mistakes, and we have to be willing to fix those mistakes. Like, to me, yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, to me, it comes down to, we've got to start teaching our kids and anybody that we can the value of human life, and how, like, again, I'm of the belief everyone is armed and prepared and equipped and knows how to do it. And is prepared when somebody chooses to make that decision, that there are enough responsible people around that can stop it before it happens. I hate that, but at the same time, I don't see a way that still allows freedom of will, freedom of choice, and all of the guaranteed rights that we have as individuals, not guaranteed by our government, but guaranteed by our Creator, and having responsibility, ownership of the mistakes that we are making as a society. Maybe not as individuals. I'm not trying, like, it's not an individual thing as much as it is a society thing. The value of human life has to become dialogued again.
Yeah. And
so, anyway, sorry, that was my little soapbox.
No, I think the negative thing, like, one that's a negative and a positive, just like you said, like, with the, like, it should never have happened, right? Like, but yeah. Just the way that the team react, especially the stories that we saw with the O line, the D line, and Andy Reid, the head coach. Like, the leadership throughout that whole event was just awesome. Yeah. The bad thing about, I guess, really having a team is that, like, just because you believe something, kind of like how you say that you believe in the right to protect your family. Like, yeah. Just because you say that doesn't mean that you belong to a team of what your beliefs are. You believe in protecting your family. That's what you believe. That is your team. Right. Your family is your team. Just because I believe in my right to be able to carry what will protect me and my family doesn't mean that I involve myself with that team. That team... America is just very team driven. So, like, anything that you hear from somebody, that they just assume, like, I'm in no
right. It's like the assumption is like, okay, so if you have a gun, then that must mean you support, like, NRA, and you must support, like, no, I'm not necessarily on that team. I'm not.
I support the protection.
I support my Second Amendment right, and I support the ability to protect my family. I don't think. No, I'm not gonna go down that road.
No,
but
I was just really getting at the, like, just because we root for teams like sports, just like this whole thing, like, that is a team that we're rooting for. That's a positive thing to root for. There's no positive.
We're such a team-driven society that we have to be aware that not every situation is a team thing.
Right. Like, I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not necessarily a Chiefs fan, but I was rooting for them. They're not my team. They're not your team. You're a fan of that team.
Yep. You don't have to be a Republican to believe in self-defense. You don't have to be a Democrat to believe in reasonable gun ownership laws, things like that.
And if you did, it's like, you couldn't say that a Democratic president should be protected by guns. That's pretty much what they're saying. Like, if you believe in guns and you're a Republican, that's not it. Like,
well, it comes down to, like what you said. It's this team mentality where it's like, I have to be on the team and I have to do everything that the team does, no matter what. It's like, no, Like, be an individual, be you, stand for what you stand for, but stand for it.
Yeah, own your
Don't
beliefs.
just jump on one side in some sort of eternal conflict that never resolves anything. Start standing up for what you actually believe in.
Yeah.
And defend it. Whether it's on a team or not. Defend what you believe.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like we said,
here we go.
But like we said before, like that stuff should never happen. I am very glad that like it wasn't any worse than what it was. Like that's really all you can say at that point. But when you
hate that we lost a life in that.
But when you bring that many people around, like again, like where I go back to, like you sort of have to have that in the back of your head as not just an American. You have to have that as a human being, because what do we know as human beings? Things happen when you bring people of different beliefs, just like what we were talking, different teams together in one area. Like nothing good can happen when people are on separate sides. Like that's just a bad thing in itself. Like listen to each other.
It breeds competition instead of cooperation.
Yeah.
And again, in the sports world, that's not a bad thing. It's how people get better. In the world of serving and caring for people, competition does nothing but generate scarcity. Cooperation is what creates the blossoming that you get in the competitive world of sports. Because technically, when you're competing in a sports world, you're cooperating together to push each other to a better standard. In a serving world, competition steals from each other. It's not pushing to make each other better. It's stealing from each other and tearing down the systems that you're creating.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more. But shout out to the Chiefs for responding the way that they did. Like a lot of people, like we would have witnessed like other people just like hitting the floor and running. Like that, none of them that I heard did that. Like the ones that got out had to get out, they got out. But the ones that were forced to stay behind, like they stepped up and also shout out to the people that helped with the law enforcement. Like that was like if it wasn't for them, like who's to say that they wouldn't have caught a couple of them? Like
guy got caught.
That is what he is saying. Like bringing people together. Those people that took the risk of
stepped up,
stopping a guy. Yeah, and they
stepped
didn't have
up
to
and
do
did
it.
what they needed to in the moment.
But that's what our rights are as human beings and individuals, to make a decision. Like that's our right to help out. And a lot of people usually just turn the other way. And that's okay too. If they're afraid to, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, by all means, don't make a bigger issue for law enforcement.
Everybody has a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
You can't like condemn yourself because you take off. Okay.
No.
What it comes down to is, in that urgency, are you endangering others, or are you trying to scoop up as many as you can to go with you?
Right.
That a good flight isn't just running for themselves. They're grabbing little kids. They're grabbing a widow. They're taking people with them to get out into safety. That's a good flight. A bad flight is pushing grandma over to get out the door, is shoving people off the lifeboats to make sure they've got a seat. Like, that's bad flight. Good fight is the person who stands up and defends, who puts themselves in harm's way, who puts themselves in danger's way. And bad fight is the person who ends up causing more destruction and more chaos, trying to get involved in something that they're out of the way. Yeah. They're just looking, the guy that's packed and armed and ready and is looking for the opportunity to drop. That guy's just as dangerous too. Like 100%. There's good fight and flight and bad fight and flight. So
yeah. But I mean, that kind of takes me to my next question is like, do you ever like actually sit there and think, like, before you go into, like, say we went to the draft, like, do you ever think of like, what do I have on me? Like, always. What do I have? Like every day, like EDC.
Yeah. And usually I'm not satisfied. But it's because even owning a gun, I don't feel comfortable yet currently with the training that I have walking around with it. And so I don't carry it on me. I feel comfortable in a fight, if that makes sense. Like I feel like in a one-on-one fight, if I'm in a situation, I feel like I've got enough experience that I can handle myself. But no, I don't. I don't feel prepared for that. I think I would probably be I'd think I'd find myself like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire or somebody like that, finding the nearest person who can't help themselves and getting them to safety, protecting anybody that I can. I don't know that I am the first person to step up and fire and drop the dude that's firing. I'm probably the guy that's putting my body between the bullets and the little kid or the grandma or something like that.
And in a crowd like that, like not a lot of those types of situations are allowed for you to even carry certain things like that. You can't bring the weapons into certain areas. But like I always have it in the back of my mind, like, hey, like I always have, like, when I'm not going to work, I always have either a pocket knife or I have everybody has their phone usually. Like that's
usually,
being able to call 911 is a part of your everyday carry. Like if you
Absolutely
can get any type of reaction for help, then you are still helping. So don't ever think that isn't a good thing, because you haven't ever worked where I worked, and like the way that I always think is like, what do I have on me that is going to either hurt me, hurt other people, or like protect me or protect other people? Like I always have like some sort of like screwdriver and stuff like that, like just little things. But like a lot of people, like, I wonder if I'm just weird like that just because I work in a place where I do. Like I'm always taking.
I don't think that's weird at all, dude. I don't think everybody has the training to do that, but I think that is the wisest way to approach any situation. It's cautious. It's awareness.
Yeah, and a lot of people would call
vigilance is what you would call it.
And a lot of people would call that
vigilance.
Paranoid, and I wouldn't say it's paranoid by any means.
Paranoia would indicate that it isn't. Paranoia would indicate that it's such a rare possibility for it to happen that you're wasting
like
the
being struck
energy.
by lightning.
Yeah. It's like wasting the energy to prevent yourself. The problem is we know what world we live in. Yeah. We know how abundantly sin is. We know, like, just unfortunately the decisions that people will make. And because of that, it's not unrealistic to assume that while you're sitting eating in a restaurant, somebody could walk through that door with a gun and threaten everybody's lives in that store, because in their moment, they're having a weak moment where they need drug money, or they need, to
food.
Yeah, they need food or whatever it is that's driving them to this point of desperation.
Everybody has a boiling point.
That's not unrealistic. It's not an unrealistic thing in our world. So you have to plan and prepare as if that kind of thing can happen.
Well, Jamie thinks I'm weird sometimes. Like when we go out to eat, like I don't know if you do this, but like I always position myself
with your back to the door. Make sure
I
you're
sit with
away
my
from
face to the door, not my back.
I said back to the door.
Yeah,
back to the wall, face to the door, able to see all exits. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Now, the weird, like, what's the weirdest thing that you do to, I guess, mentally prepare yourself for like a very good possible situation? And I'll give you mine because like Jamie thinks that I'm like completely weird about this.
I stretch. Anytime I get anxious or nervous and I feel like something's about to go on, I'll start stretching the areas that I know I'm playing. Like I have in my head, every time I play the scenario out, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like when you just put it on repeat, you're like, I would do this. No, I would do this. And then I'd do this and this and this. And you're like 20 minutes just in your head goofing around, like playing out the scenario. It's always elbows, bro. So I'm always constantly like rubbing my elbows when I'm nervous. And except like if I that, like, okay, great example of this. I was at my friend Scott's house a few years ago for 4th of July. And he does a big fireworks show every year. It's so much fun. It's a blast. I'm talking like thousands of dollars of fireworks. He puts on a show. We all contribute to it a little bit. And so it's just kind of a big collection gathering. And then he sets it off. So we're all over there having a great time. And there are some guests also in the area. So we shoot all the fireworks off in this lot in front of their house. So it's a big lot. They're like but it's kind of owned by several neighbors. So we're shooting fireworks off, and then these guests who are staying at a house just down the road are also shooting fireworks off. And they're not being polite at all. Like shooting their fireworks off while we're up shooting off our big stuff. They're shooting fireworks off in the direction of us and stuff like that. So Scott calls him out a couple of times on it before finally, like, he snaps and they start yelling, they start going off, and he starts running up on him. But the whole time, as things are like building up and that tension's building, I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like, I can feel, I was like, something's coming. And so I just start all of a sudden, I'm like stretching my arms, I'm like getting my elbows ready. I'm like, if I need to, I'm ready to swing that elbow on him, baby. Just catch him right in the jaw with the elbow. But in my head, that's what I do. That's how I prep. It's like I start stretching and warming up, ready to throw an elbow, ready to throw a kick, a punch, something.
Well, outside of work.
So the way that worked out, they ended up fighting. I ended up getting in between them and splitting them up. Didn't have to throw any punches, but like they were almost at blows. Like I got right in between. I was like, hey, dude, if you don't back off, we're going to start swinging. It was intense, man.
Well, like that would be more like the feeling that I would get like at work or if I'm in a big crowd. Like that would be like I would be start like planning like what part of my body am I going to have?
You start thinking through how do you handle these next few moments,
right? And it's almost kind of like if you go back to football practice, like Dryling used to always implement, like he would drill it into our head as our steps that we take to go to make a block. Whether are we using a crossover step, are we using a zone step, are we using
is it a quarter? Is it a 45-degree quarter step?
Yeah. Like that's the types of thoughts that I kind of go into it. So that's a little weird, but like that's the feeling I get at work and in big crowds, kind of like at the draft. But the one that Jamie kind of gives me crap for is like usually when I book a hotel. Okay, like I usually first ask for a first level room, like that way I don't have to go stairs or anything like that.
Right.
And then I've got like a checklist. I've got 3 things. I ask for a first level room, and if I can't have it, I get the next one up. As I go up the stairs, I try to get the next one. If that's not a possibility, then after that, I go to the room closest to an exit. Like that. So I always ask for the exit. Now, this is where it gets... This, I will admit, is a little weird. As I'm walking to our room initially, I count how many steps it is from that exit to our room and vice versa. So when we go in, I count the steps from where the exit is.
And what's the logic behind that?
Fire. Okay. Like I don't like. Gotcha. I'm worried. Like if I can't see or if I can't like, if I don't have any, if I'm not used to the area, I want to know at least how many steps it's going to take for me to get there.
Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad.
It's a little like Rain Man-ish, but
it is a little much. I wouldn't want to do that, but I get why you do it. I don't think it's that odd. It's a little odd. Like on a scale of, Howard the Duck to,
I would say that is the weirdest thing I do is probably count the steps.
Weird to Hello Kitty.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think what would be considered weird. Oh yeah, on a scale of Howard the Duck to like Edward Scissorhands. There you go. That's you're at like a 3. You're okay.
And it's mainly like just because I want to know how far. If I can't see, like if there's a fire, or even if there's like people running, like I want to know what direction, what path I have to take, and how many steps I'm going to have to get to that exit. So. But that's why I always choose a first floor and then I go up from there. So like last but not least, I will take the top floor room, but I still want to know where my exit is. And that's just kind of like, I was like, I wonder if anybody else is as weird as me. I'm sure people have like a logbook of like how many
as steps. Weird as you, Bobby.
Oh, I'm sure there's way weird people. I mean, we do have fetishes for a reason.
Oh, let's not go there. Let's definitely not go there. I did
some
not
people like
know
some people like chocolate icing. I like vanilla. I mean, and vice versa. Like
Bobby, stop! This is more than I need to know. This is not the rabbit hole I want to go down with you.
Oh, there's no rabbit hole, just exits. Let's just take it.
Nope. Don't want to talk about exits with you.
Exit doors and windows.
Let's exit that way. Guys, welcome back to the Chubby Putty Podcast. We are celebrating because Road to Legacy, HCW, that's Heartland Championship Wrestling. For those of you that aren't in the know for some reason, Heartland Championship Wrestling just finished their amazing event at Osage Rec Center called Road to Legacy. It's the setup. It's the big thing because coming up in April is going to be their big legacy event, their big main match. But man, let me tell you, there were so many amazing storylines set up in this event. We've got some amazing stuff. We had massive debuts, 2 big debuts to the HCW. In fact, our opening VIP match that you only get to see if you're buying those VIP tickets or if you're on that Patreon, right, Bobby? Patreon gets access to that stuff?
Patreon should get access to all of the matches from start to end and everything in between. But then I also think that they're also doing the live commentary during the show. So if you're a Patreon member, you get to listen live while it's going on via, I think they were doing like a Zoom type thing at the show. Nice. That was the first time
there
they
you
did
go, guys. So as you can see, obviously Patreon's still growing, still all sorts of ways to get connected with HCW. It isn't just through social media. You can get on the platform and you can obviously come live to a show. These things are fantastic. So like we said, we had some amazing matches. First one we want to highlight, that VIP exclusive had a debut, gentleman by the name of Kane Carter. Okay, Kane Carter. Now, Bobby, you said paying close attention to this match, you did not feel like this should have been first match on the card. Now, I get it; it's a packed card, but there was something special about watching Kane Carter, and he went up against the realist Calvin Aldridge. Okay, a great showman, phenomenal performer. However, King Carter got the W. He got the win in his debut. And you said this was a pretty phenomenal match. Tell me what you saw, Bobby.
Oh, he just looked like he did it. He's done this for so long. Like he just had, and I don't know how him and Calvin Aldridge, if they've ever worked together or not. Like if they've ever had any matches in Texas, because he made his debut in Kansas and at HCW. So I think he's been strictly out of Texas, but just his chemistry in the ring, I think Billy Simmons really could have made this a middle of the card type match, and people would have been more excited because I don't know if you saw this or not. He came out and showed support to who was it? Let me see here. I forgot who it was that he showed support to, but the crowd was starting to love him, and then just like that, he turned.
Ooh.
And it was the most, like he was getting the crowd pumped and raising his hand like he should have been the champion. Oh, it was the director's cut, Dutch McLean. That's who it was.
Oh,
he
Dutch,
was yeah,
that's right,
raising
Dutch.
his hand. Yeah, raising his hand in the ring. Man, it was crazy. The crowd didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. I was taken back. I was getting ready to get in the ring, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool! Like this dude's making his debut," and he shook the Osage Rec Center.
Coming in with lightning and fire, baby. Coming in with lightning and fire.
Kansas,
that's how to do it.
Mr. Kane Carter.
If you're gonna make a debut big. Kane got the message. Hopefully, Wichita got the message too, that Kane Carter is for real. So obviously, as you get into the card, it was a phenomenal night. The whole thing kind of kicked off for the regular viewers with Para Rockstars versus ACFC, 2 phenomenal tag teams that are big crowd pleasers. So it was a phenomenal match. I know there was a lot of good action. You know, the unfortunate thing is, I say unfortunate, the blessing that I got to have is we run the Chubby Buddy food truck. And so we got to run concessions for the show, as you guys know. But the unfortunate part to that is I get to be in this tiny little window while I'm cooking food, glancing over to catch moments from the show. So I don't get to see all the great action. But Para Rockstars ACFC, that is a phenomenal match. Heard lots of loud pops, got to see a couple of great moves when I could look over. Phenomenal stuff. But the Para Rockstars came out on top of that one. I'm excited to see how that's going to play out as far as how that shakes up the tag team division, stuff like that. Because
I do know that ACFC is the fan favorite. I mean, I don't think Para Rockstars are necessarily hated, but ACFC
no, but they always bring a pop, and that's the thing. ACFC is definitely the fan favorite. Para Rockstars not necessarily faces, but definitely always energetic and always bring the crowd alive. So it was just one of those matches that, man, when the action's going, people get excited. So really loud, really set the tone and the energy for the whole night, which led right into Ricky Wingrave and King Chris Vale. That was a big battle that went down. Ricky Wingrave ultimately got the win there. Any highlights from that you can think of, Bobby, that really stood out to you at all?
I mean, Ricky is just one of those guys that, like, when he comes in the ring, he means business. I mean, he's neither face or heel, in my opinion. I can't tell. So, but I do know that the crowd enjoys every minute of when he comes out, because he comes out with Kargar.
Yeah,
Kargar is, I mean, he's developing into not only a well-known wrestler, but he's also developing into a crowd favorite. Like, the crowd, I mean, they're really pushing him to be I think, a favorite, just a lot like Jose Geraldo or
sure,
Gerardo.
absolutely.
Like,
Well,
that's
and
what I
here's
get
the
the vibes
thing.
I get.
Well, and truth be told, Ricky did not have an easy, this wasn't an easy win by any means. Chris
Not at
Vail
all.
is a technical nightmare. I mean, the dude, he's not called king for no reason, okay? Like, he is good at what he does. The man is the man's royalty, okay? He ain't playing around. And so he's trained in all the right ways. He's technical in all the right ways. He's going to put up a fight. And honestly, I'm impressed Ricky got where he got with it. It was pretty good. It was a good match. So love how it's setting up. I know there was a spot that was pretty exciting to see. Dick Richards came out running his mouth like he usually does. And we had a phenomenal announcement. Okay. Billy Simmons, owner of HCW, actually put up, are you ready for this? Put up a 50% ownership of the company. He is putting his money where his mouth is, okay? And it may bite him in the ass. We're going to find out, okay? But he put it on the line in a match at HCW in April. Dick Richards gets to pick his opponent. And here's the thing. While they're running their mouths, while they're going pro, of course, shocking turn of events. Not really that shocking. Empire's Ray Leon comes out, knees Billy in the face. So we have got a fight brewing. If you haven't been paying attention the last couple of months, Dick Richards and the Empire running their mouths, trying to get under Billy's skin, trying to push his buttons, and Billy is ready to pull fire for fire. So we are going down. So Ray has now attacked Billy. Billy has now officially put it up that there will be a match, 50% ownership on the line, ready to go. So let's see how it goes down.
And let's not forget, Dick Richards didn't pick his wrestler. Ray Leon
So
pretty much voluntold Dick Richards that's how it was
are
going
you
to get.
kidding me? Yeah, Ray Leon basically said, "Hey, I'm doing this." So we're gonna see how this goes down. But like I said, tons of great setup coming up to Legacy. It's gonna be a phenomenal show. Fourth match, we had Chance Kerrigan taking on Handgun Dan. We got to showcase these two earlier in our show. Even got to have Chance on the show to talk a little bit. Let me tell you, it was every bit as energetic as we thought it would be. Definitely a lot of fighting, definitely a lot of higher energy. I didn't see a ton of the match, but I do know who came out on top. Bobby, any highlights for you that stood out to you? What was your favorite part?
Chance Kerrigan got his payback. 100% what it was worth. But the one thing that a lot of people didn't really recognize, Chance kind of, I don't know if he was playing homage or maybe shooting a shot at Ray Leon. Stole one of Ray Leon's moves. It was pretty nice. Yeah.
Okay. Throwing a little
Yeah.
shade while he's doing work. Okay. So, what do you think? How do you think this plays out? Do you think the beef is squashed? Do you think Handgun Dan moves on,
Not
finds a
even
new
close.
target? Or do you think
Not even
chances we're about to see round 2 again?
Handgun Dan
round
does
3,
not
gosh.
like to lose. And I don't even know him, like, personally. Like, I've never sat there and had, like, a one-on-one conversation about his demeanor. Because, one, his height and weight is nobody's damn business, apparently. So, nobody really knows much about the guy. But what I will say is this, is that he obviously hates to lose. Not only does he hate losing, he hates losing to people that are a crowd favorite.
Well, and people who he thinks are inferior to him. Okay? And let me tell you, he does not view Chance Kerrigan as his equal. Okay?
No.
So, there's a threat there. Keep an eye on it. Beef doesn't look like it's done. Looks like it's just brewing and bubbling, and we're going to find out how it all comes to a head at Legacy. It's going to be good. You had mentioned one a little earlier before, a big match that went down. Drake Gallows versus Dutch McClain. Big names, big fights, huge personality. Tell me what stood out to you about this match, Bobby.
Well, I mean, Dutch McClain, like his last match that he had, it was I'm not 100% sure who it was against, but I watched it. He's very high energy. Like he gained 20 pounds for this match. Like
Dang, added
it was
20
15 or
pounds?
20 pounds. Added 20
Good Lord.
pounds, and he did not look like he gained fat by any means. He's
Right.
high energy. He uses their iCryo promotion through
Okay.
HCW, and he takes very good care of his body. He's well known for when he's in the ring. Everybody knows when he's in the ring or when he's about to be in the ring because he brings that energy. He's high caliber. Like anybody can wrestle with somebody who's going to let them take the reins. But I think that he's really good with anybody else opposite him because he
See, and
either
that's so
anticipates
interesting.
everything.
It's so interesting the way you showcase Dutch like that because I would say so many of the same things about Drake Gallows. Drake Gallows has been around HCW for a very long time, has put in tons of work with these guys, and is consistently always putting on a great show, always putting in the work to make sure he's ready for the opponent he faces, which is why this was such an interesting matchup between these two because you've got workhorse versus workhorse. You know what I mean? It's like what happens when you put two just beasts in a building together and let them go at it.
And this was their very first time going against each other, and it didn't look like it. Like it was very
interesting to see two guys that definitely are honing their craft come together in a pretty good match. So I'd love to see if this develops more, if this was a one-off or if Dutch is going to be coming back. So you had mentioned the connection with Dutch and King Carter. How'd that go down?
I don't really even know if they know each other or if maybe King Carter was kind of. I mean, since he was the very first match of the day, not everybody got to see that. Only the VIPs and the premiums got to see it. I don't know if he was kind of wanting to maybe give a little tease of what he's about to the entire crowd rather than just the ones who paid to see just him. But he came out and showed his support, or it appeared like he was showing his support. And lo and behold, he pretty much welcomed everybody that was there in Kansas at HCW to Texas because he started waving that Texas flag after he dropped Dutch McClain. It was pretty wild.
Okay.
So
okay.
He was showing where he came from. He wanted everybody to know who he was, and he means business.
All right. Heat is a brewing. I hope you're tuned in, y'all. Hope you're definitely tuned in. Next match that we want to cover, obviously, big time, big event, big news. The champion, Stormy Renee, the legend, the girl who just had her massive showcase on AEW against the women's champion. She may be all highlight and glory. And don't get me wrong, she deserves it. She's worked for it. She's earned it. But Heidi Howitzer put her to the mat and pinned her 1, 2, 3. It's over. Heidi Howitzer is your new Sunflower champion. Oh my goodness, that was insane. Nobody saw it coming. It was a fight to the finish. And man, Stormy Renee went down and she's no longer the Sunflower champion. Just days after her first time appearing on national television, AEW, against Toni Storm. Oh man, this was electric. Let me tell you, the jaws hitting the floor when Stormy lost, it was silent. It was like gasps, okay? It was intense, okay? And Heidi Howitzer did the work and earned it. So she's your Sunflower champion. You may not like it, but you got to deal with it.
Really, the big thing that I take from this is that I think that maybe Stormy might have been still on cloud 9 because of her debut, and she kind of maybe didn't approach this match. I honestly think that maybe she might not even be as much upset as losing the belt as maybe somebody in the shadows by the name of Minnie Grace. Like she had this look on her face after that was done because she's the one that lost the number one contender match to Heidi Howitzer. So I think that she's the one that is lurking for maybe a shot at the title before even Minnie Grace might even have a chance to take it.
I don't want to what's the word I'm looking for? Speculate too
Okay.
much. I don't want to speculate too much, but I do know that one issue Stormy might be facing is I know she had several shows lined up over the past week, not just the HCW show. So I wonder if she even came into that match 100%. You know what I mean? She's working her tail off. She's putting all these matches. Exactly. She's working her tail off. She's putting all these matches in. Maybe she came in not 100%. That makes me then question, can Heidi really claim herself as champion if she beat up a not fully engaged champion? I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, seeing if maybe that chums the waters a little bit. Maybe Mindy will have something to say about that.
Speculation isn't necessarily the best word, maybe, but we can go backwards a little bit because Heidi and I believe I don't know if it was the Marinette or another one of the female wrestlers that they have there. They were a tag team against Stormy and Mindy Grace, and Heidi came out on top on that also.
Okay.
So it's not that I think that Heidi isn't maybe necessarily the champion. I just think that there's a lot of things, a lot of possibilities brewing there at HCW, I think.
Sure enough. Right. Well, guys, the next match, see, here's the thing. The next 3 are all title matches. So we just covered the Sunflower title. That's our women's championship. The next 3 are also title matches. So as you can see, Road to Legacy was huge. It set up so much stuff. My team, my guys, okay, listen, since the Chubby Buddies have been cooking for HCW, there's just been a team that has just rallied around us. You know, they've loved the food. They've really built the passion. They've come alive. They've walked away with great food. Let me tell you, they've walked away with great food and great titles, okay? And at the last show, they walked away with the titles, and they hadn't quite done it the right way. Had a few conversations with them, made sure they were well fed. We talked about it, and the way things went down, so we got to see a wonderful match for the Tag Team Championships, the Chancla Violence versus the Rebel Hearts. The Rebel Hearts being the actual reigning champions. However, it was Chancla Violence who walked out with the belts because they had taken them at the last show. Now, like I said, I talked to the guys, told Chancla Violence, hey, man, we can't just be taking stuff. I mean, hey, they'll do them, I'll do me. I've got to run my business a certain way. They're going to run their team a certain way. All I know is they're passionate. I'm passionate. That passion bleeds over. And Chancla Violence took that passion and they turned it into energy, and they pinned the Rebel Hearts 1, 2, 3 and walked away with them titles. Okay. So Chancla Violence, shout out to you guys. You guys are the champions, the tag team champions, the rightful tag team champions, and walked out of the building with those belts, having earned them and earned yourselves plenty of biscuit bombs as well. So we love you guys. Great job. Tag team champs, Chancla Violence. Make sure you're keeping up with them.
And also, let's I'm not going to kick anybody while they're down. The Rebel Hearts, they had baby reveal when they came out.
That's right. Yeah, big news. Rebel Hearts, part of their big match was they were revealing the birth of. Do you remember whose baby it was?
It was Heart. Hold on here. Before we move on, I do not want to not highlight this. It was
this was really cool.
But just to give a little feedback, their intro was done as they came out, as they were coming out to the ring. They were either going to come out in a pink outfit or a blue outfit to represent the sex of the baby. The crowd was shocked by everybody coming out in that pretty baby blue.
Baby blue, there you go. We got a boy. Thank you, Rebel Hearts, for making the announcement. Got a baby boy.
Congratulations. I won't.
Very congratulations.
And I'll get that name. I just need to. My voice.
Thank you. That's my bad. I totally didn't even think about that. Thanks for making that note.
All good.
The second to last match, the co-main event, if you will, was the battle for the Independence Champion. Okay, and that was a phenomenal match. Your current champion, Johnny Faith, brought it in, and man, I don't know about you, Bobby, but fatal four ways are never easy for the champion. Are you kidding me? There's so many ways you can lose without ever having been pinned, without ever actually losing. So I feel like, Johnny, know this. I support you. I love you, dude. I'm sorry. I think you got the raw end of the deal, having to fight a fatal four way in this. And unfortunately, Johnny Faith did not come out on top. He was duking it out with the likes of Logan Knight, a brand new addition. We said we had two great debuts. The second debut immediately coming in, a powerhouse by the name of Donovan Era. Bobby, do you have tell us a little bit about what you experienced meeting him?
Again, I mean, he had very good energy when he came out. I think a lot of the expectations since he was making his debut, like not a lot of people know him, so they didn't know how to react to, I guess, not necessarily a new intro, but also a new face to the company. But when he came out, he got a lot for a new face and all. He got a lot of good reaction from the crowd, not just necessarily good ones, but also the bad ones. Whether or not he was what his goal was,
knew how to draw some response. Then good.
He had a good welcome.
Good, very
Let's
engaging.
just say that.
Good. Well, like I said, we said it was Johnny Faith, Logan Knight, this new guy, Donovan Era, and then, of course, they all faced the up-and-coming star, Jose Gerardo, and that man, that wonderful, athletic, vibrant lucha, just fantastic. I almost said luchador, but he's not actually. He doesn't wear the mask.
The music might tease you a little bit thinking he is.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, let me tell you, Jose Gerardo brought his energy, brought his passion, brought his skills that this guy is growing every day, watching him get better and better as a wrestler. And he finally put it all to work, put it all together, and hit that sweet spot, got it just right. And man, he got the win. Jose Gerardo is your Independence champion.
I will say it this way, just for people to really understand Jose Gerardo, by the way.
Gerardo. Oh my gosh. I keep messing that up. Thank you. Gerardo, not Gerardo.
Or Geraldo, because a few people have called him Geraldo. But
have
Jose.
Really? I think that's a news reporter, isn't it? Gerardo or Geraldo or something like that.
Well, used to be a comedian.
He's a famous.
There used to be a comedian by the last name of Geraldo, Greg Geraldo.
I thought there was a famous news reporter named Geraldo.
I don't know. I don't watch the news. But I do, however, have one statement to make just for people who are listening to understand the
hype,
the love and hype around Jose. In this statement, the crowd was happier that Jose won that championship more than the crowd was disappointed that Stormy lost hers.
Yeah, that shows you the energy, the hype,
the pop
that Jose just brings. Like, they love him for good reason. Okay, and he is their Independence champion. And let me tell you, you could have thrown a parade down Main Street.
When the person with the mic has to get louder than the crowd as you're saying his name, that is a statement in its own. Okay.
And then, of course, like we said, great match. And then, of course, it all capped with our main event for the Heartland Championship for the Heartland Championship match. This match was Remington Roar. That's your champion. That is the beast. That is just the
Himbo Slice.
Himbo Slice. That is the man, the myth, the legend, the warrior. I'm sorry, I'm stealing other people's catchphrases. Remington Roar, the carnivore. Okay, the man who eats. Okay, he wrestled probably one of the best dynamic heels that you will see in HCW. Aaron the Prodigy Helms, the man who is red, white, and just better than you. Okay, he constantly showing up. It was a phenomenal fight. However, the match ultimately ended in a disqualification because Aaron Helms just had to do it, man. He busted the steel champion over the head with a steel chair. Busted the champion over the head with a steel chair. Disqualified. He loses. Remington Roar keeps his title. However, I can tell you firsthand, Remington was being treated by the medical staff after the show with a very nasty gash in his head. So let me be clear. Remington won the match. Okay. As far as the card goes, Remington won the match. But if you think Remington walked away from that match unscathed, if you think Aaron Helms did not do what he intended to do, then you missed it. You missed what happened, because Aaron Helms may not have walked away with that title, but he put in work and he did damage to Remington Roar. So Remington, praying for you, brother, praying that you heal up nice and well, that the scar looks cool when it's done. But man, we're proud of you. Way to defend your title. Prodigy, wow, dude, putting in work on a guy. My goodness.
His statement is red, white, and better than you, but yet he still has yet to prove that past 2 times he's fought Remington. The first one, he did technically get DQ'd for being out of the ring, and then Billy Simmons came out and said, no. Put an end to that part, squashed the DQ, made him go at it again, and finish the match out. No rules, nothing, everything goes. Remington beat him. This time he gets DQ'd. I don't know if he's too wild or what to actually prove that he's red, white, and better than Remington Roar.
Hey, look, I will admit he has not gotten the title. But if you don't think he's gotten the better of Remington in some of those situations, I think you're missing the long game here.
Well, but you also have to think about the long game with Remington. He lets things brew, and when he gets pissed.
Oh, hey, look, I know what Remington's going to do. I know he's going to eat, okay? The question is, this is really a battle of bronze versus wit here, okay? And not to say that Remington doesn't have wit or that Prodigy doesn't have brawn, but to say what their strengths are. Aaron is cerebral. Remington will eat your face off, okay?
Well, Aaron also said that he doesn't think that he could go head-to-head with him in the style of match that Remington likes. So my wonder is Remington less afraid of the Prodigy because he's never going to step in the backyard of Remington, or vice versa?
But
I wonder what type of match they're going to set up.
Again, that all comes down to really showcasing how Prodigy wrestles intelligently. He's smart. He doesn't go into fights that he knows he's going to lose. He doesn't set himself up for failure.
But
he
I do
doesn't
think
take
his emotions
unnecessary risks and unnecessary injury. I agree with that. I agree that in trying to prove a point, sometimes he loses sight of what he's trying to accomplish. That desire to pound to get his pound of flesh costs him his plan that he puts into motion. So, but in reality, there's no question that when those two get into a ring, it is exciting. It's exhilarating. It'll bring you alive and then tear you down. It is a great match. So Remington Roar, still your champion, still eating everything in his way. He is the carnivore. He is going to eat.
But no, again, HCW put on a hell of a show. Just even better just to pan it out into a 3-segment way into the final destination of HCW's legacy. The next show is going to be March 30th at the Osage Recreation Center, and that show is called Last Chance. So that is the last leg before the big event, Legacy.
Easily one of the best shows we've gotten to see.
Oh, yeah,
great
for
show.
Sure. Loud, action-packed, emotions were running everywhere. The crowd was interacting even more this time than show 1 that I was at. So
for sure,
I definitely felt the energy in the room. So,
yeah.
But make sure you're following them on all their social medias. And also, I'm excited to see what Billy has up his sleeve on who's going to have fight Ray.
That is going to be, bro, who, like, Remington? You've got to have your champion, dude. Like, who in the world are you going to get to come out and defend for 50% of your company, Billy? Like, what are you doing?
Who does Billy have
This is your
up his sleeve,
man?
I wonder if he's going to bring in maybe somebody we haven't seen. Who do you think he might come out somebody that we haven't seen, or do you think he's going to stick with somebody that is in his pocketbook that he can go to a list to? Do you think it's somebody that Ray least expects, or do you think it's somebody he might expect?
Dude, I have no idea who in the Midwest you could bring here. Seriously. Like, somebody is going to have to stand up and put this dude in his place. Like, somebody is going to have to become bigger. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where you find a man in the Midwest that can do this. I don't know.
I mean, I'm excited to see.
It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal.
For sure.
Just wait.
But that is HEW, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you follow them on all their socials, and also try to become a member on Patreon if you can. You get, like we said before, you get all the action before and after the shows are done. So, yeah. Make sure you hit that like button for HCW also. They have a YouTube channel. They release highlight videos all the time. So that is HCW. They are a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast. Well, hey, man. Sports. I mean, we don't have any NFL games for the first time in a Chubby Buddy episode.
Quiet.
And,
it's quiet.
There's nothing wrong with quiet. It is good to kind of reset. That way you can kind of be like anticipating.
I do gotta admit, it is kind of a peaceful season because I'm a baseball guy. So spring training is going, like it's up and running. So we're in the quiet before baseball season kicks off. So
the Cubs just signed Cody Bellinger.
I know. I want to see. I'm excited for how the Cards look this year. I want to see if it's paid off, the work that they've put into their pitching roster.
We will never know until game
made
1.
Some moves. I know.
Even their spring training is a little weird because, like, I don't think you get the full effect of like a baseball game because
everybody only plays like 2 or 3 innings and then they're done, and then you get subs in. So
you're just really it's just
a test run. It's just a warm up. That's all it is.
Actually, I think the spring training's more for the coaching and the.
It's to get your lineups to see the chemistry and see how people are playing and. No. Well, I mean, it is in the sense that they warm up and getting back together and getting that chemistry going. But beyond that, you're right. No, it's mostly more so for the dynamics of getting that arrangement right. The batting order lineup. I mean, shoot, I remember, Ollie had a lineup a couple of years ago when we just barely made the playoffs and then lost. That lineup that had us going like 17 or 18 games straight of wins. Like, that's what spring training is all about in my book. It's all about finding those sweet spots.
And also finding the players that can fill those gaps if you lose somebody in a lineup. So, I mean, learning. Moneyball really kind of put a perspective on baseball that like a lot of people didn't realize.
From Moneyball. I still don't understand all of the metrics that they go by just because I think it's really complicated.
Did you ever read the book that they wrote about like just the Moneyball book?
Mm-mm.
I'm surprised you didn't jump. Well, I've never read it. It's about math. It's the mathematics of how they came up with it.
Well, then maybe I need to read it.
I just figured you would have.
The movie does a good job of conveying what math they're using to get there.
But it's also for the people that don't understand certain math metrics. Kind of like how you brought up. Like, that's what the movie's for.
Yeah.
The book is way more less specific.
Well, maybe I need to read the book and see how they do it. I just like when they get into some of those complicated numbers, the stats that they do. I get why they measure it. It's just it gets to a depth where I get disengaged.
You get less interested in why. But like one of the things in Moneyball, like I don't think Jonah Hill's character was appreciated enough. I think that he's the one that really set the tone for like the direction that the movie was going. Like, this is why Moneyball was not necessarily a success, but why it was actually implemented into. I think they started it with the Oakland A's back when Epstein was. I don't know if Epstein was there because in the book The Cubs Way that I did read, like they sort of bring up like kind of that Moneyball thing because I think Epstein was involved in that. The Cubs' old GM that they had, and then he became into baseball operations, and then he was at the Red Sox before that. But like. Again, I don't enjoy math like you do, but like that movie really kind of put a perspective into like this is why you need kind of like how you have a depth chart. It's a baseball depth chart is what Moneyball is. If this guy's not getting on base, find a guy that is going to fill the same void that he has. So if he is a good outfielder, put him in the outfield, but he's also going to be able to get you RBIs and stuff like that.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
one of the lines that I really enjoyed from the movie that Brad Pitt said was, I hate losing more than I like winning, or I love winning, or something like that. And he said, and there is a difference. And I agree with that. Like
Yep.
I would rather, most definitely, I would much rather win a game than lose. But like the I guess the quote is much more simpler than what it sounds when you actually hear it. So.
Well, it makes sense if you say, I hate losing more than I like winning. Because the concept is you'll push so hard for something that you like, but you'll push even harder against something that you hate.
Yeah.
And in that theory, to hate to lose is going to push you to work harder than just liking to win.
Right. I really loved that movie. Like, it was just a good... for especially people who aren't into baseball, like it kind of shows the competitiveness of baseball. Like a lot of people find baseball to be slow and boring, and it has its times, but
baseball is both, it's beautiful and it's methodical. Like that's the thing about baseball is it's
almost
a process.
Like chess. It's almost like chess.
It's a process. So while you have the immediate hype of a big dude that can belt it over the fence and hit a home run and score points for his team, you also have the strategy. You have there's so much of it that it really is the most beautiful game. There isn't a more intricate game than baseball.
Now, did you ever watch The Trouble with the Curve?
Yes.
Did you like that one?
Yes. No, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Clint Eastwood, phenomenal, obviously. Who's the dude that he's arguing with all the time? Oh,
the guy from Scream and played Shaggy off of Scooby-Doo.
Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard does such a great job in that movie as a bad guy, as an annoying prick, but Matthew Lillard's a phenomenal actor. So, but I thought it did a really good job of capturing the two different, well, not just two, but two of the prominent understandings of baseball in that showmanship versus tactician. And Clint Eastwood obviously is the tactician. Yeah. Clint Eastwood obviously is the tactician. Lillard's obviously pushing the spotlight one. Yeah. And the spotlight guy is flashy. He catches your eye, but he's weak in a lot of areas, and a tactician puts together a team. I think of it a lot like how, and let me put it this way. I think of it a lot like how Dreiling did with our team. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a Division I athlete on our high school team, but we had enough guys who were gifted and skilled in our areas and a coach who knew how to maneuver that, that he could create a strategy and a plan that could overcome a team that had all-stars. And that's what we did. We beat teams that had bigger stars than us because we were tactical. We used strategy. We could plan. And that, to me, that's what I like about Trouble with the Curve, is you really see the two different philosophies kind of fleshed out in the powerhouse, the showmanship, the guy that brings the energy, the guy that brings the pop, versus the team that can put the whole package together and get it done.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie.
Like, and I'm not trying to change the subject completely about baseball, but like, what is this whole thing with the Royals going on? Like, are they going to Kansas now? Are they like jumping the border pretty much?
I don't know for sure if what's finalized on that, but yeah, there's talks of a new stadium, talks of building it, and I think it's to do with I think they're trying to put Kansas versus Missouri against each other, who can provide the better tax breaks, stuff like that. I just don't like what that's going to do to the culture around Kauffman and Arrowhead. I love that chemistry. I think even more so now with Patrick being part owner, I feel like it seems foolish to me. I understand it's a business decision, but
Kauffman is so nice.
Yeah, I love Kauffman. I think Kauffman's a great stadium.
It's I think it's one of the bigger stadiums. Like, there's no bad seat in that place.
As long as you continue to invest money into your stadiums and continue to improve them and make them better, like, I don't see any reason why they should move. But again, It's a business decision. I don't know. They're not my team, so I try not to be too invested over it.
And that's why I asked, because I'm not as invested enough to really Google it, I guess.
Yeah.
But, with baseball, again, like there's so many things that happen every year. Like, every week, if you want to get technical, like the amount of things that could happen in baseball in a week is like a season for the NFL. Like, that's what's crazy. Like, with trades and people moving teams, like there's some players that play for 4 teams in a month. It's crazy. Now, I might be overzealous with that comment, but like, that's the way that, like, it seems like when you see like players being traded, like, oh, he's now at what team? Like 3 weeks ago he was with the Orioles or something. But no, I mean, baseball, yes, baseball is coming back. Spring training did start. The Cubs, I think, have had like 2 or 3 games. I'm not 100% sure. But I don't even know how well they're doing. But I do know that they did sign Cody Bellinger, and then I do believe they signed a catcher to the team, not to like a veteran catcher to the team.
Okay.
Outside of sports, UFL, I think they are going to really pop this year. I think it's going to be an amazing experience for football.
I'm cheering on the Battlehawks. Let's go.
I don't really necessarily think that I have a team. I just think it's going to be good for football in general, especially fans. But so I did see some of the names that the UFL signed this past week. Kiki Kutri, or whatever his name was, he used to play for the Texans back when Deshaun Watson was on the team, and then also he was another wide receiver. He got signed to a team. A lot of the names that you see in here, like, you're going to have like some pretty good big names that were in the NFL. Like, it's
exciting.
Another thing to be excited about.
It's going to be good.
I'm excited for that. And then also the UFC. I don't know if you saw what I posted about the UFC coming to. They're going to be at the Sphere. Like, that is going to be so awesome. UFC 306. That should be a good show. I think it's the 5th of May that they're going to be doing it. So, yeah, I'm pumped about that. Like, if I could see a sports doing something like that, like, UFC would be the best for that type of like atmosphere.
Sure. For that venue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it'll be fun. Is there any other sports that, like, basketball? I mean, I haven't been following any college basketball enough to really say that I'm a fan. Like, I always end up doing a bracket. Usually, last year was the first year I didn't do a bracket in several years.
Gosh, it's been a couple of years since I've done brackets. Man, but I haven't watched college basketball in a while.
And we're back.
Feel better? Back. Feel much better. Got a drink. Stomach's nice and clear. We're groovy.
Good. No, I think the last thing we were talking about was just basketball. I'll fill out a bracket. I always fill out a bracket, but I haven't done one in a while. I didn't do one last year, so we'll see how they go. I'll at least do a bracket, I think.
I'll probably do one this year. I don't know, though, man. It's honestly, with the moving, I may end up getting lost this year again, too.
Oh, yeah. Last year I didn't do one just because I was doing other things like setting the podcast and stuff like that up. Like, that was the big time consumer for me.
Here's where I feel like a real hypocrite. You know, I'm a KU fan, and they've won a national championship, and I haven't even been tuned in.
Like, yeah, they won one 2 seasons ago. Last year was... I forgot it was South Dakota State or something like that. So I was like, I'm not even like, normally I've at least watched 20 games like for college basketball, but like,
really?
I usually
I couldn't do it.
Last year I did watch games, and I was really in tune to Purdue's team. Like, I don't really necessarily say that I have a team. I do root for Kansas teams. I don't really care who they are. But Notre Dame, I'll watch them. But Purdue, like, the ones that impress me are those players that, like, are getting the hype, and it's amazing to watch. They had a center last year that was just amazing, and it was just fun to watch.
Gotta love them Boilermakers.
Yeah, I mean, some of those teams are just like, or some of the players that, like, just don't get acknowledged just because they're not like Michael Jordan or they're not LeBron James. Like, I think that's where college is where I believe, still firmly believe, that that's where basketball is at its purest, is college basketball. That's where it ends. And outside of that, it's just entertainment. It's just like wrestling, or it's just like watching the Globetrotters play. Like that's just how I've taken it ever since, I would say probably the early 2000s, kind of like when LeBron started playing in the league. I kind of fell out of really watching any type of basketball outside of college. So, but no, I mean, other than that, like I can't think of any other sports topics since I guess, I mean, the NFL's done and I'm going to start doing a countdown of days to the NFL kickoff. But,
I like it.
But the entertainment world, man, I think that with stand-up comedy and TV show, I think TV shows are now going to be the saving grace of people's entertainment at home from now on. Like
I watched. I was going to say I watched Jordan's recommendation on that. I watched that Dusty Slay one.
Did you agree with me?
I agree with you. I totally get why Jordan loves him.
His dry humor.
Like he is a Jordan style comedian. I'm with you in that he's funny. I wouldn't rank him that high up for me as Jordan definitely ranks him. I get why Jordan loves him though. He's definitely Jordan's style of comedian.
I wouldn't buy a ticket to go and watch him, but I would watch him on a Netflix special.
I'd probably go see a show of his, like if he was around.
But I wouldn't go out of my way to try to find him, is what I'm saying.
No, I would go out of my way if I were trying to find, like if I wanted to see
Dave
John
Chappelle.
Christ, like I bought his tickets, Dave Chappelle.
Who was that comedian you wanted me to look at? I forgot to write it down. I'm going to write it down now. The one that you were watching.
Oh, the guy that keeps getting me laughing is Drew Lynch now. He's pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look him up.
He's been doing it for a while. When he first started, he was known as the comic with the stutter because he had a really bad stutter when he first started. He's been doing a lot of speech therapy since and just kind of getting over the fear of it and has gotten quite a bit better as a public speaker. But it's just like you can see that he was so funny that it was hindering what he could do and he was overcoming it. Like that was so cool about it. Like he's naturally funny. The overcoming of the stutter has been just kind of a cool bonus to it all. But the dude's naturally funny. He's hilarious.
Well, I will definitely check him out. And I lied to you about how we were talking about how the guy that has the famous sourdough bread, it's not the guy that I said it was. It's a guy by the name of Tom Papa.
Oh, okay.
He's the comedian that has like a famous sourdough that he always brings it to comedians, I guess, and they like rave over it.
Nice.
But another, I guess, entertainment, like I was saying, TV shows I think are going to be taking over if you watch a 45-minute TV show, it's almost like watching several movies after the season's done. Yeah. So I mean, I've been leaning more towards that, but I did watch a couple Netflix movies. Like I watched
what'd you watch?
Players. Have you ever heard of that? It's like a comedy. It's the best way to describe it without giving any specifics away, if you end up watching it, would be it's a cross between Wedding Crashers and what was the movie that I was... It's a cross between Wedding Crashers and name any type of love story, like Made in Manhattan or something like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So it's a rom-com / Wedding Crashers. And
gotcha.
And it's got the Wayne's son in it, the guy that used to be on New Girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. He's one of the main characters.
Damon
and there's
Wayans
a lot
Jr.?
of and he's in and there's several other people that are in it, but like none that I would have ever been able to tell you what their name, except for him, of course. But I did watch that, and then I did watch a dumb horror movie, I guess you could say, is Thanksgiving. Don't waste your time.
I have to own something, Bobby, and I know you know this about me, but I portray myself as a movie buff. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean,
I have for a very long time committed one of the many cardinal sins of not having watched certain movies. You know what I mean? Like there are just some movies that are considered like for movie buffs, you have to have seen them, stuff like that.
I do it too.
Yeah, I know. We're all guilty of it. We're all snobs about movies. In reality, we all just have our genres, and then we're like, I really don't care that much about that. One of the movies that was never really that high on my list to see, never really gave it a chance. I can quote scenes from it just because it's popular. I know it, I know the concept of it, but I'd never really watched it.
Do I know it?
You do know it. The Godfather.
Oh,
So
okay.
okay. So The Godfather. Now, here's the thing, Bobby. I recently, I don't know why. I think it was because I was cleaning up and I have my DVDs of The God. Like I have DVD copies, Blu-ray copies of The Godfather, all three, that I've never watched. Okay, just owned them because they're classic movies. Definitely wanted to watch them, and I kept telling myself, "Oh, you own them now, you can watch them." Never watched them. Finally, sat down and put on Godfather 1, and I'm grateful. I'm being honest here. I'm grateful that I didn't watch it before this. Not because it was a bad movie. In fact, just the opposite. It's a great movie. I don't think I would have. In fact, I know this for a fact. I would not have appreciated that movie as a kid. I couldn't have appreciated that movie as a kid. As an adult, that movie is so freaking good. The themes, the tones it sets, just the fact that that movie is imitated by so many other movies. Like the theatrical undertones of it, like it's just so well done, and it's such a standard for how movies will go forward that it just blows me away. Godfather 2, that much more incredible. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, the split dialogue, or not split dialogue, but split storytelling, all like just phenomenal. So I've now watched Godfather 1 and 2. They're phenomenal movies. But weirdly enough, I think I can confidently say it was a good decision not to like care to watch them that much as a kid, because I don't think I'd appreciate them. I definitely appreciate them now as an adult.
And I watched it as a kid. And when I say kid, I'm thinking like 12. I was like 12 when I saw it. And
yeah, of course.
It's not that I hated it. It just wasn't, I guess it wasn't as exciting for me to watch because I was more into like the action, like the Die Hard or a comedy movie.
Yep.
This one represents like a lot more for me as an adult because like it's portrayed through the eyes of adults. Like it's
a drama.
Not only is it a drama, it is a suspenseful drama if you look at it from that perspective, because the way they do the lighting in The Godfather is so scientific, it's not even funny. Like that's why I can't wait till you start watching The Offer. Like
their ability to set a scene and a tone
in that time is crazy
in that movie.
During that time, like 72 ish, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen we've enjoyed movies from that time, and we don't even kind of put them in the same.
We don't recognize the greatness and the radical difference between them and the movies around them.
Like Rocky.
There's a reason they were such incredible pieces comparatively, because when you compare it to anything around it, you're just like, wow, that stands out. Similar in that same vein, go back and watch the original Jurassic Park. Even now, it still stands up because obviously real special effects, not digital, all of that holds up over time, and they just are phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting to a time in life where, like, we just expect CGI to really be the big part of a movie. And a movie like The Godfather, like, to put those on a spectrum is one into the other. Like, a CGI movie to The Godfather.
That's all physical.
And, like, without, like, I don't want to ruin The Offer for you because we were talking about this over the weekend. I don't want to ruin that for you. So, like,
so clarify what The Offer is.
The Offer is a mini-series that Paramount put out to really tell the story behind the story of The Godfather. That's like the build-up to why they wanted to film this movie.
Godfather 1, just the first movie.
Yeah. And really, like, just to make sense of what The Offer is about, it is from the perspective of behind the scenes of filming a movie. And that's really what it is, like what they had to go into, especially in 1970, whatever it was. Like, you and I, we don't know today, like, kind of what they do for a movie today. We know how much, like, editing goes into it, probably. Like, we know that they had to make certain edits to it. But, like, the thought process of why they chose characters or actors and actresses to play these people.
Yeah.
The science that Coppola put into choosing the people he wanted for these roles, like it was very heartfelt of how he chose these. I'm going to call them players of this movie, because if it wasn't for them, I don't think that certain characters would have made The Godfather what it is for you now. And that's why I'm really excited for you to watch The Offer, because when you see like how I guess passionate he was about casting these specific actors, like that's kind of like where I was like, man, like this, it sets a standard for movies for me in the future, and that's why I really enjoyed the show. So
I'll check it out, man.
I look forward to you to let me know what you think about it. Is there anything else you're watching other than The Godfather? Like, I mean, I can't, like, Apocalypse Now, I couldn't, like, that's still not for me. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Coppola, man, he's got a list. I tell you what, I got my wife finally watching John Wick. She watched the first one the other night. No, so she likes action movies. She just never really, like, I don't know that she really got into John Wick. Just never really tried. She watched the first one the other day and enjoyed it, and she said, okay, I'm ready to watch John Wick 2. And so I started to put it on, but she was cooking at the time because Mom wanted to watch it. So Heather hasn't gotten to watch 2 yet, but she's watching and liking. So I have a feeling probably in a couple of months she'll have watched all of them, and probably the Continental as well.
And is your order still the same? Of like, my order for favorite John Wick is 1, 4, 3, and 2. And that's just because of what I got from the movie. Like, 2 for me was just a little bit slower than the other 3 for me, but it was still good. Like, you still sort of needed that, I guess, closure to certain characters. Like, John Wick needed that closure, not necessarily us, but.
Well, but 2 sets the bigger story premise of Excommunicado.
Right. We know what Excommunicado is at that point. But like, I'm saying for what the movie was. So 1 for us, we needed 1 forever. Like every movie,
one's critical. 1 is critical. Absolutely. 1 is always, in my opinion, in the number 2 spot. It stays right there.
And for me, 2, like I don't think that it necessarily needed to happen that way. The Excommunicado thing, like at the very end, like, yeah, you needed that to understand what happened in 3 and 4. But I'm saying, like, what led up to the ending, like, you didn't necessarily need that. You could have added any type of, I guess, scenario in there to where it led to Excommunicado.
Sure. The driving force that ultimately led to John Wick becoming Excommunicado. But that's the thing. Him crossing that line is what... I don't know, man. Okay. I almost have to categorize them, because here's what I would say. Action-wise, I would put 4 at number 1.
1 is also action-wise.
I know. 4, then 1, then 3, then 2.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing action. If I'm going storyline, I would switch that up. I would probably go 1. I would actually probably go 1, 2, 3, 4 storyline.
Yeah.
Because I think as the movies have gotten progressively bigger and more action-oriented and stuff like that, the storyline has taken a hit. The dialogue about the table and everything like that has gotten a little bit more convoluted and has kind of taken a... Not that it's not driving the story, but that it's taken a backseat to the action.
Yeah.
As it's gone on. They're developing the story slower than I expected them to by 4.
But I think that's like really why it's got such a following, is because...
But that's why I'm saying the writing. That's why I'm saying, like, writing-wise, I would say it's gone a little downhill. Now, Continental had some phenomenal...
Oh, the show?
Writing and action. Yeah, the show. You gotta watch it. So that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's based on what element we're talking about. Like, I would put these movies in different orders for different things. Casting. Oh my gosh. The casting on the first
4,
movie.
It has me like going, what? Like,
go back and look at some of the casting for the first movie and how good all of those people are. 4 has some of the biggest names ever. So yeah, like casting, I would put 4. It'd go 4, 1.
Do you know who was
3,
all
2,
in the
probably.
4? Like, do you know who played the fat guy that was playing poker?
Oh gosh, I knew it at the time when the movie came out because I was looking at all the highlights. But there's a ton of great celebrities, and I say celebrities. It's not even just celebrities because like you've got like so many great names in martial arts and in action that he brings in that I think is really cool.
Right. So like without like taking anything away from the guy that I asked you about, but like the blind guy, phenomenal I guess placement of how they portrayed him to be not only one of John Wick's good friends, but also a guy that they hired.
That's Donnie Yen's character you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Donnie Yen. Yeah, Donnie Yen. Is it Yang or Yen?
The freaking Yen. Donnie Yen.
I always thought it was
Ip
Yang.
Man. They call him Ip Man.
Yeah, I never saw all those movies. IP Man. But no, Scott Adkins is the guy that was playing poker. He was the guy that he was the fat guy that has like the gold grill or whatever in his teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you look at him like as just a human being versus the character, they did some crazy work. It was almost kind of like having the guy that played the clown in Spawn.
Yeah.
That's the type of makeup that they put on that guy.
Leguizamo, he's in here too.
Yeah. Well, in the first one and the second one. I don't think he's in the third or fourth.
He's in 4?
He's in 4?
Yeah.
He was in 4?
He's on the cast list.
Oh. I mean, he's just not as a big character. He's one of those satire type characters. Like,
that's Leguizamo, though, man. Yeah. He doesn't need a starring role anymore. He's like the ultimate support dude.
Like in number 2,
you
like
get him in a role, you know it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah, I'll have this between now and Christmas of 2028.
Pretty much anything he's done after Super Mario Brothers has been a hit.
Yeah, a lot of people overlook Empire. I don't know if you ever saw that he was in, where he played the, I think he was a drug lord or of some sort.
I did not see that, no.
It was pretty good. But no, John Wick is awesome. And I'm, like anybody who says that they don't like John Wick, I don't think that they watched it.
There's TV shows and stuff coming out too, like Fallout is coming out on Prime. I'm excited to watch that.
Isn't the Ballerina going to be coming out too? Another spin-off of John Wick.
Ballerina?
It's the girl that her dad in the number 4, her dad that died at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think they're having a spin-off of her character called the Ballerina.
Nifty.
So there's a lot of possibilities
of good stuff
with John
out
Wick.
there.
I think it's going to be fun. Like John Wick's just awesome. You got to love John Wick. But other than movies and TV, not much going on with me. I did start a couple shows that, I mean, not really worth talking about, but I do kind of have to highlight. I want to highlight, like, just because I don't follow Beyonce probably enough as a lot of people do, but I do kind of want to give her props for that country song.
Have you been listening to the song?
I enjoyed that song. Like, it's a good song. Like,
it's good, and whether y'all want to admit it or not, it is a country song.
It is a country song, and
she's got a bumping country song. Way to go, Beyonce. Way to put out a country song. Seriously. Well done.
And she debuted it during the Super Bowl, and I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
The spirit of it and everything. Like,
did you know
it is a good country
Did you know
song.
she put it out during the Super Bowl?
I knew she put it out. I don't think I caught that it was during the Super Bowl, but I did see it go out and listen to it. I actually first heard about it when the drama started popping up that certain radio stations wouldn't play her because it was Beyonce.
And I didn't hear that part. Like, I did hear
it wasn't
how many radio
stations. It was just like early on ones that didn't. Yeah, well, they were just like, it's Beyonce. She's pop music. Why would we play her?
What's blowing up on all the social media?
Because it's a hit, dude.
I saved it as one of my songs to listen to, like while I'm editing. So
it's a little bop.
I enjoy it. It's fun. Bop. It is. There's room for any type of content, I think. I think anybody who says that they're a rapper could also, just like Post Malone. Post Malone, he could probably go country and make a
We get
a golden
so
record.
Territorial of our space.
It's that team thing. It's that team thing.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm team country.
Right. It's back to that team thing. And it's like, there's room for other people on your team.
Not only that, there's also room for people to have the same beliefs as your team or the same talent as your team.
There's room for people other than your team on that topic or on that subject.
Quit being so territorial about who's doing what. Just let them do
No
it.
need to
If you enjoy it,
people.
enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't enjoy it.
Stop being gatekeepers and start being gate welcomers.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that I don't like it.
People into the thing that you love.
It's kind of like capers for Josh. He doesn't like capers, but people from Jamaica do. Come on.
I don't like capers, but if you feed them to me, I'll eat them because I'm a nice guy.
Hey. But I dig
I'll have a couple bites.
I had so much fun with it. Like, it's got a good beat. Like, the words are very understandable. Like, it's very much a country song, and Beyonce just put her own twist to it. Who didn't like Single Ladies? Come on. Imagine Single Ladies as a country song. We know you did,
Bobby. We know you know the dance.
I don't know the whole dance. There's just like
you
a few
know
things.
the dance.
I don't know the whole dance.
I've seen you dance the dance.
It's just where they putting the hand there. That's all I know. And then
show us,
like
show us, Bobby.
Thing.
Do it. Close us out with it. Close us out with all the Single Ladies. Come on.
No, I'm going to close this out with. I want to thank people who are listening.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to say thank you to you. And if you are subscribed, thank you even more. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment about anything that we talked about here today, whether it be what team you're on, what team you're not on, what team you would, I guess, root for. Leave a comment about your favorite John Wick movie. Also, let us know how you feel about The Godfather.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Let's make us an offer we can't refuse.
Man, I can't wait for you to watch The Offer.
I'm excited.
I made him an offer. Good reviews.
Well, guys, thank you. This is episode 56 in the bag. We love you. Bobby,
and don't forget to message Jordan. I love you too, but don't forget to message Jordan to find out how his, I guess, ordainment, I guess, into
Ask him any questions about Scientology you might have.
Yeah, like let us know if you're a Scientologist, if you need Jordan's help with maybe promoting.
Maybe we can rescue you and him at the same time.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't make as many bad decisions as Jordan did by getting his wife. Hopefully you didn't.
I'm really concerned because Jordan doesn't have a lot of money, and from what I understand, Scientology costs a lot of money to stay involved in.
I mean, Tom Cruise is the is one of the, I guess, saints of that church. So we'll see.
Love it.
But no, I love you.
I love you too, man. Guys, we'll see you. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 56. Adios.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.